So next I want to talk about job descriptions. As I closed out the last video, it's really easy to say, hey, come run sound, but they don't know exactly what they're signing on for. They don't know how long their commitment is. They don't know exactly what they're supposed to be doing. What are the qualifications? How many people do they have alongside them to help them or to work with them? These are all good things that belong in a job description. And if you've ever worked in a job that did not have a job description, chances are you work for a church, because churches seem to be the only people that do that. But also, it becomes monotonous and becomes frustrating when you keep being asked to do things and you're not sure that this is exactly what you're supposed to be doing. Nowhere, I signed up to be the audio guy. Nowhere did it say I have to also learn slides. Why are you asking me to do that? That's not why I'm here. It's very frustrating. I'm getting frustrated just thinking about it. So let me talk about 5 things you need in a job description. And it doesn't have to be completely perfect. Okay, you can mold this and you can evolve this over time, but you need to start thinking about this when you start recruiting. It's also really easy when someone says, hey, do you want to run sound? Or excuse me, when you ask someone, do you want to run sound? They say yes, and it's perfect. Let me shoot you some of the things that's required. Let me know if it's a good fit. Okay. Or you just say, well, look, they say, what's the time commitment? And you just show them. I have it written right here. So it's even better than you telling them. You can show them. So the first thing you need to know for your job description is, who do you need? Okay. And I want you to think in the ideal scenario. Okay. Don't say, oh, we need someone to run lights and sound. That's tough. Make a job description for a sound guy or an audio person. Sound engineer. A sound engineer sounds so professional. But sound guy, I understand, can leave some people out. So sound person, sound gal. That sounds like a podcast, sound gal, or a lighting person. Okay, whatever you want to call it. I like to stay away from sound engineer, audio engineer, live stream operator. That's daunting, man. I would just say sound guy, okay, or sound guy, sound girl, light worker, slide person. Stick to really basic, simple names. That's fine. Okay, cameraman, camera operator. It's just, when it gets long, it gets tough. So think about, who do you need in the ideal scenario. I know you run slides and the live stream. You should not want to do both of those. So you want to make sure you make a job description for a sound person, a light person, camera person, stream person, social media person. Make job descriptions for all of these. And even if you have to double duty right now, that's okay. You can continue to do that. Don't build a job description on the unideal scenario or the less than ideal scenario. Also think about, how many people do you need? It's a lot easier to say, hey, we don't have anyone running sound. Ideally, we'd have 2 people, 3 people on rotation. Can you be the first one can you help me out and rotate with me as I find someone else? That's a lot easier than, can we rely on you 52 weeks a year for the next 5 years? That's daunting. But knowing that I'm already on a team sharing the responsibility with someone else, that's really cool. And knowing that there's another spot for someone else to do it alongside me, even better. So think about, how many do you need? And again, think of the ideal scenario. So maybe I should say, think of how many you want. The ideal scenario. Also think about, what does training look like? So in your job description, you'll have you'll have a basic description. Keep it 1 to 2 sentences. Keep it super simple. Don't use technical language. You'll have the description there, and then talk about the training that you offer. We're going to give you 4 weeks of on-the-job training. You'll shadow me, then I'll shadow you, and then I'll turn you loose. But I'll be in the building. I just won't be behind you in the media booth. Maybe I'll be sitting behind the media booth. Okay. What does training look like? We'll give you video training. We'll give you walkthroughs. We'll let you run rehearsal first. Again, thinking about the audio thing. Or maybe you're going to live stream a small group, or you'll live stream Wednesday night. Once I know, again, as a volunteer, what that roadmap looks like, it's a lot easier to envision me going to that destination. Then you want to, similar to a traditional job description, you want to put their responsibilities, and I encourage you to do this in bullet point form, just like a regular job description. Your responsibility is to run sound, which includes muting instruments and pastors, setting up the microphones, running rehearsal, making equipment purchase recommendations, continuing education, whatever their responsibilities are. For volunteer positions, I typically recommend keep it 4 to 5. If you have more than 4 to 5 bullet points, you might need 2 positions. Okay. You might need 2 people to run sound. Just something to think about. I know it's tough because you're like, I do 10 things. It's easier for a volunteer if you make it, down to 1, or excuse me, down to 4 or 5. All right. Then think of the hours. What is the time commitment that they have to make? So you have to remember, again, for your sound person, they have to be there early, an hour and a half early for rehearsal on Sunday morning. They have to be there through Sunday. They have to stay about 15 minutes later after service. Then they have to also be there Wednesday nights for rehearsal at what time? That's a large commitment, and you need to be upfront with that. It's not okay to lie people or to make them think that the commitment is less than what you already put out. Less than what you know it is. So you want to be there completely honest and let them know what they're getting into. Okay. In the training, you could also say at first, you're going to start with just Wednesday nights, right? We're going to train you during rehearsal. Then after a month, we're going to want you to start coming on Sundays, but you don't have to help set up. Just come shadow us on Sundays. And then after that, maybe you do come to help us set up, and then we shadow behind you while you run the stuff. Okay. That could be another part of it. So you can ramp them up. My camera's backwards. Ramp them up into the time commitment that you need. Okay. Social media is a little bit tricky, right? So if you have a social media person, the time commitment can be anywhere from 1 hour to 10 hours, depending on what kind of stuff you want them to do. If they just need to go post graphics, it takes like an hour a week. If you want them to create graphics, 4 or 5 hours a week. If you want them to make videos, edit videos, clip videos, subtitle, crop them, post them, manage comments, it's like a part-time job. You're talking about at least 10 hours a week. So you need to be upfront with that. And then once you have your job descriptions, I encourage you to create a volunteer page on your website and host them there, especially if you have no limit or no further requirements for the job description. Guitarist, you might want to have 3 to 5 years guitar playing experience, right? You might want that. I know some churches that's sacrilege, but some churches, they want trained musicians, experienced musicians leading their worship, and that's their prerogative. For tech, me and Dave recommend I like to say anyone can learn tech. I'm an example of that. So if you want to have someone, if you have any requirements, include that. But put your job descriptions on the website, make it easy to find. And that way also when you invite someone, I would pull it up on your phone and say, hey, here's the job descriptions of, the audio engineer or the camera person. Super simple. And when you say that this is written down, everything that you have to do, they can imagine it and they don't have to worry about being asked to do more because you've been upfront and honest and transparent with them. Okay? A lot of churches don't do a lot of this stuff, and that's why a lot of churches have a lot of churn. That is people coming in and coming right back out. We are raising the barrier of entry a little bit by making you work a little bit harder for it, but when you do that, you get the cream of the crop. You get the last 2% of the milk that they can't get out. It's a joke. So next we're going to talk about one more thing that's going to be a little bit scary, but when you add this to your process, you're going to see a lot less churn and a lot more buy-in because you're only going to get the best of the best. Talk about that in the next video.